Somewhere in a garage sits a rifle that survived 2 world wars, cost less than a video game, and still shoots tighter than guns 5 times the price. Surplus rifles are the last real loophole in the gun market. Historic, dirt cheap, and vanishing fast. Here are 10 you can still grab in 2026 before everyone else catches on. Let's get into it. Number 10. Carcano M91. Walk into any gun show and you'll see it happen. Collectors hover around a pristine K98 like it's a piece of jewelry, while a few tables down sits a rifle nobody's even bothered to pick up. That overlooked rifle is the Carcano M91, and the snub it gets from serious collectors is exactly why it's still one of the cheapest tickets into military surplus. Chambered in 6.5 by 52 millimeters, it feeds from a 6-round end-block clip, weighs next to nothing, and kicks softer than you'd expect from a rifle older than your grandfather. Reputation problems aside, it often runs hundreds of dollars cheaper than a comparable Mauser or Enfield, which honestly feels like a glitch in the market that nobody's bothered to fix. Originally adopted by the Italian army back in 1891, this basic design stuck around for over 50 years, which says a lot for a rifle constantly written off as the budget option. Number 9. Turkish Mauser. Ever wonder how one rifle ends up with a stock from Germany, a barrel forged in Czechoslovakia, and a receiver stamped in Turkey? That's not a hypothetical. That's just a normal Tuesday for the Turkish Mauser. Decades of arsenal refurbishing turned these into accidental Franken rifles, mixing parts from half of Europe into a single working gun, and somehow it all still functions as it should. It's chambered in 8mm Mauser, runs on that famously tough Mauser bolt action, and the longer barrel squeezes out genuinely impressive velocity for the caliber. Parts are everywhere too, so repairs are cheap and painless. It's not flashy, but it's the kind of rifle that just works, trip after trip to the range. Look closely at the receiver, and you'll often find multiple overlapping date stamps. Basically, a paper trail of every rebuild this rifle went through before it ever landed on a shelf in the States. Number 8. Czech 5. Yugoslav M24. Ask any Mauser nerd what the smoothest bolt action ever mass-produced was, and don't be shocked when the same name keeps coming up. The Czech 5-24 built a reputation for buttery cycling that made other countries' Mauser actions feel clunky by comparison, which is a big part of why nations across multiple continents either copied it outright or bought it directly from the factory. It's chambered in 8mm Mauser, shorter and handier than the full-length rifles in its class, and the machining quality still holds up under a jeweler's loupe today. This is the rifle that other rifles got measured against, and somehow it's still affordable. Spain, China, and several South American militaries all leaned on this pattern at one point or another, which tells you everything about how far its reputation traveled. Number 7. Yugoslav M24/47. Here's a problem new collectors run into fast. They fall in love with the K98 online, then watch the price climb past what a decent used car costs. Before giving up on that dream entirely, meet the Yugoslav M24/47. The rifle collectors quietly nicknamed the poor man's K98 for good reason. Built on a refurbished military Mauser action, it cycles smoothly, locks up tight, and delivers almost the exact same shooting experience as its German cousin, minus the inflated price tag that comes from a more famous stamp on the receiver. Reliability is excellent. The forged receiver is rock solid, and nobody at the range needs to know you saved yourself a few $100. Yugoslavia kept refining this pattern well into the Cold War, tweaking small details every few years without ever messing with what already worked. Number 6. Chinese Type 53. Some rifles show up looking like they just left the factory floor. This one shows up looking like it lost a fight with a tank, and somehow that's part of the charm. The Chinese Type 53 is China's take on the Mauser Garand M24, complete with a folding spike bayonet that snaps forward like something out of an action movie, chambered in the same hard-hitting 7.62 by 54R round that's been punching through cover for over a century. Most examples arrive scratched, dinged, and cosmetically rough around every edge. Don't let that fool you though. Plenty of these have shockingly tight bores, and they shoot noticeably better than their beat-up exterior has any right to suggest. That folding spike bayonet alone has turned into a small cult favorite among collectors who just enjoy snapping it out before a range session. Number 5. SKS. Spend 5 minutes in any surplus rifle forum, and you'll see somebody recommend this as a first gun. And there's a reason that advice never seems to die out. The SKS sits in this perfect sweet spot. Semi-automatic, chambered in 7.62 by 39mm, loaded fast off stripper clips into a 10-round internal magazine, and built around a gas system that refuses to quit, no matter how dirty it gets between cleanings. Recoil stays mild, ammo stays cheap, and it carries enough genuine history to feel like a real milsurp without scaring off somebody who's never run a bolt gun in their life. It's the rifle that quietly turns casual shooters into full-blown collectors. Millions of these were produced across multiple countries, which is exactly why ammo for it remains some of the cheapest on the shelf today. Number 4. Lee-Enfield. Number 4. Mark I picture enemy soldiers across a field, hearing rifle fire so fast they assumed they'd run into a machine gun nest, when really it was just well-trained guys cycling bolt guns. That's the legend behind the Mad Minute, where trained shooters using the Lee-Enfield No. 4 Mark I could land 20 to 30 aimed shots in 60 seconds flat. Chambered in .303 British, with a 10-round detachable magazine and rear aperture sights built for speed, this rifle was engineered for exactly that kind of battlefield, panic-inducing rate of fire. Decades later, it still cycles faster and smoother than most people expect the first time they actually run one. That same rugged rear-locking design also lets it shrug off far more mud and grit than rifles with more delicate actions ever could. Number 3. M1 Carbine. Anybody who's lugged a full-length battle rifle around a range all day knows the feeling. Shoulder aching, arms tired, ready to call it quits by lunchtime. This rifle solves that problem by basically not weighing anything. The M1 Carbine tips the scales at 5 to 5.5 pounds, with a compact 35-inch frame that feels more like an extension of your arm than a separate piece of gear. It's semi-automatic, chambered in .30 carbine, and takes 15 or 30-round detachable magazines. And despite looking almost dainty next to a full-sized battle rifle, that cartridge hits noticeably harder than the pistol-caliber submachine gun soldiers were carrying at the exact same time. It got so popular among officers and support troops that plenty of soldiers reportedly tried trading up for one, even when it technically wasn't their assigned weapon. Number 2. Swiss K31. Every so often, somebody pulls the butt plate off one of these and finds a tag tucked underneath with the name of the actual Swiss soldier who carried it decades ago. The kind of provenance you basically never get with surplus firearms. That's a discovery people stumble into, after they've already fallen for the Swiss K31 on accuracy alone. It runs a straight pull bolt action, which cycles faster than a traditional turn bolt once you find the rhythm. Chambered in 7.5 by 55 Swiss with a 6-round detachable magazine and iron sights sharp enough to embarrass rifles wearing actual scopes. Match-grade manufacturing on a military budget, no wonder this one built such a devoted cult following. Switzerland never sold these off in huge numbers either, which keeps supply noticeably tighter than most other entries on this list. Number 1. M1 Garand. There's a reason George S. Patton once called a rifle the greatest battle implement ever devised, and it wasn't some throwaway compliment from a guy who didn't know weapons. He was talking about the M1 Garand, and even now, nearly a century after it first entered service, it still feels completely at home on a modern range. It's a semi-automatic battle rifle chambered in the thunderous .30-06 Springfield, feeding from an 8-round en-bloc clip through a gas-operated action that practically defined what a fighting rifle should be. Long-range performance is still genuinely impressive. The combat history speaks for itself, and unlike most things from the 1940s, this one simply hasn't aged a day. It also holds a quiet historical milestone worth knowing: the first semi-automatic rifle ever adopted as standard issue by a major military. A big deal that's easy to overlook now that semi-autos feel completely ordinary. 10 rifles, all still floating around the surplus market in 2026, all still shockingly affordable compared to where this hobby is clearly headed. Grab one while the prices still make sense.